Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday. How are you doing? Good to see you. It's Kirsten Liebelt. Really, really good to see you. Gorgeous day here in Minnesota. Oh my goodness gracious. I actually was going to do this right before I got on and I didn't. So I apologize. I'm running a little behind this morning. Oy vey. We're going to be going out of town tomorrow. We're going to Texas. I'm in Minnesota. So I was kind of just like gathering a few things this morning. So I apologize. I'm a little late, but I'm going to take my vitamins anyway as I'm chatting. So good to see you guys. I would like to chat with you today about why, are you really tired of like having, most people don't even know. When your sugars and your insulin are high, you guys, you can lose weight. This is like, I wish somebody would have told me this when I was in my 30s and 40s in that way. Don't get me wrong. Like I knew that you didn't want high sugars. My dad died of type 2 and I saw all of it, right? Like it was tumultuous. Anyway, I get that. And so I wasn't being responsible. I wasn't, come on. When your mom says, eat this because it's good for you, eat this because it's healthy, you're like, whatever. But if she says, eat this and you're going to lose weight, then you'd be like, oh, well, tell me more. So I know that the conversation I already knew for my health, it wasn't motivating me. I don't know. Anybody else? Tell me if you're on the replay, by the way. Tell me where you're coming in from. I always love to hear that. I forgot to say that. And for anybody in the country, if the glucose product was out of stock, because it's back in stock. So for anybody picking up the trio, which are the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity, we have a new challenge starting on August 12th. So I think that's my housekeeping for today. But anyway, okay, so back to if your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. So I wanted to talk about food today because this is a common conversation in my inbox. What do I eat in a day? What does it look like? And all of these types of things. And there's so much noise around food. And I know that food is like, when we do the challenge in the group and we're talking about ingredient trade-outs, it's literally one of the most, there's a lot of emotion around it, right? There's a lot of emotion around it. Oh, I can change this on TikTok today. I can make this bigger. Very good. Thank you. Very good. Very good. Okay, good. Megda, good to see you. Very good to see you. Hey, Brian, good to see you. You guys are awesome. Okay, so when I'm talking about this, this is the deal. If somebody would have come to me and they would have said, hey, Kirsten, 32-year-old Kirsten, you're 32, you've had your babies. Yeah, your dad just died and you're really having a hard time with your weight. I'm going to give you this magical tip. And this magical tip is that if you can get your sugars and your insulin down, and insulin is a hormone, you're going to be able to actually finally lose weight. Oh, and by the way, if you take care of your liver, it's going to help you metabolize all that fat on your body. I would have been like, sign me up. Like I wanted to know that information because you're talking to me from a vanity perspective. Come on. I am not the only one that wants to do something from a vanity perspective and not a health perspective. I lived that way almost my entire life, way into my 40s. Like, tell me how it's going to help me. Tell me how that weight loss med at Walmart is going to like help me like control my appetite and help me to lose fat and all of that good stuff. Tell me that. Good morning, movie mama. Good to see you. Tell me those things, right? Don't tell me, I mean, don't get me wrong. My mom, she was phenomenal and she did a really good job. But she was basically talking to me about the perspective of, there's a lot of type 2 in our family and a lot of obesity with the Italian family. And how are you not paying attention to your sugars? And how are you? So it was a very medical perspective. But let's talk about why spiking your sugars and your insulin all the time, why you're on this hamster wheel and you can't lose weight. And you're so dang frustrated because I know I'm not the only one. And it is men and women, FYI. Good morning, Sherry. What about hunger? How does diabetes affect that? It's like I'm hungry no matter what. Yes. That's basically insulin resistance. So what I'm going to do is I am going to talk about food here today. Every day I go live at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and we talk about insulin resistance. I have one conversation. It's just about, hey, friend, good to see you, Liz. The conversation is just 500 hours long. always going to talk about a perspective from insulin resistance. I'm very narrow in my conversation, but it comes from a very authentic place, right? So raised Italian, I had a type 2 insulin dependent dad, and he would give himself like 2 shots of insulin a day and take a Lazy Susan full of medication. And when he died at 63, I really questioned like the system. I'm like, what? Like, aren't we in the 21st century? He died in 1995. Aren't we in the 20th century? Isn't this like, this stuff is supposed to be amazing. All of these, like cutting edge medicines and whatever. Well, no, that's actually not true at all. I was just super naive and I didn't ask a lot of good questions. I'm just going to say that. And so basically I went on my own little journey and I decided I was going to figure out why. Why was he living this life that had low function? And he was being told by his diabetic nutritionist that it's a good thing to eat Cheerios, Rice Krispies, corn flakes. He ate a lot of grape nuts, and he used a lot of skim milk, and he put a lot of sweet and low. That was what my dad did all the time. Now, of course, he did also eat pasta and bread and everything else because you're just told to take more med. You're just told to take more insulin to have a bigger shot, right? But this is the deal. This is what I watched was every morning he would wake up and he would start to take all of his medicines and inject his belly with insulin. And then he wasn't safe to drive because everything was competing with each other. And his quality of life was just tanking. You could see it, like his energy was so low. His ability to like function and move around just kept on going down, down, down. He was having heart procedures, heart surgeries, pacemaker, eventually on dialysis. And this is all from something that is not a terminal diagnosis. This should make all of us very, very angry. I'm just saying. And I don't choose anger, people. I'm just saying like I don't live in that space, right? But I'm telling you, like this should all really get us a little riled up. Hey, wait a minute. Why don't we have simple answers for a simple conversation? Why? So that's my goal, is to come and say, this is easier than you thought it was. This is not as mountainous, but we're going to shift a few things. And what's easy is I'm going to actually take my supplements just because I need my own. I should have done it beforehand, and I apologize. I was in the bathroom getting ready because I'm starting to pack for a trip. And so I'm like, oh, I don't want to forget this, and I don't want to forget this, and I don't want to forget this. So, but I need my own mental clarity. So every single day I make sure I'm taking my adaptogenic herbs. So I'm going to talk while I'm taking these. So just bear with me. But my point being is that if everybody can find out that you could have like a different functioning level of life, man, I'm telling you what, you would be a happy person just like I am. I'm 59. I don't take any medication. I basically took the route of supplementation. My dad took the route of medication and he died at 63. I took the route of supplementation and I'm the only one in my family that avoided type 2 diabetes. And I'm telling you what, that makes me very, very happy. I can see that I am, oh, nope, there it is. Okay, I'm good to go. And it matters. So taking sense, you guys, I was not a supplement taker and now I am. And this is easy. Taking supplements every day, super easy. Take them out of your Dollar Tree box that you bought that I've had for years. It even has a crack in it and I need a new one. But this is the way my brain works. Your brain probably doesn't work this way. Good for you. Like, I don't like pill boxes. I have an aversion to pill boxes. I don't know what it is. My brain just goes, not interested. So this is easy. A dollar store container with some vitamins that I take every single day. And this is how I started. And I keep doing it, right? But now I'm 59, no meds. You want to know what's hard? You've probably heard me say it before. This is hard. This is hard. The heart is hard because we're emotionally attached to food. Sherry, am I okay with the carnivore diet? I am. I'm not carnivore, but I'm really okay with it. And I talk about it a little bit because this is what I have heard from people. People who have Hashimoto's, they do really well on carnivore. People with autoimmune in general, they do really good on carnivore. Dr. Kills, K-I-L, I don't know if it's T-Z or just Z. He's a fertility doctor out of New York, and he uses carnivore for his patients to get their hormones in the right place so that they can get pregnant. I am okay. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit here today, because this is actually talking about the food piece of it. A lot of people want to know, what do you eat in a day, etc. Oh, sorry. I usually do that in my stories, so a little more casual setting. Anyway, so the first thing is that it was really mountainous in my brain to trade out my foods. This was a really big deal for me, you guys. In fact, when I was in my 40s and my mom wouldn't leave me alone about my sugar, I did not start with food, because I thought, oh, dear Lord, how will I ever make headway into that matrix of my own making? I'm Italian. I eat everything white. You know, it's pasta, it's bread, and I'm super addicted to sugar. And somebody just said, you know, about hunger and type 2. And it's like, I avoided type 2. So just remember that in the conversation. But when you are insulin resistant at the very beginning, you are hangry and you are chasing carbohydrates. And the reason why is because your body prefers to burn glucose for fuel. It literally prefers it. It wants the quick pine logs in the fire to give you quick energy. It knows what it's doing. Your body is it's so wonderfully made. It knows exactly how to take a fuel and use it and keep you energized and going, right? So insulin is the hormone, and your pancreas releases insulin, and its job is to, when you eat food, whether or not it spikes your sugars a little bit or spikes your sugars a lot. And I'm doing this because when I talk about food, you're going to understand the conversation. So whether it's a little bit or a lot, the insulin doesn't care. It just wants to go and grab it and shuttle it into your cell. So when you're insulin resistant and your cell is closed, then what happens is you're not getting any energy in your cell. You're tired, but then your body says, I need more energy. It's knocking on the door of energy again. And what's the best way to get fast energy? The body knows. The body's like, oh, we're just going to go eat some carbohydrates. We're just going to get a quick fix. What do you think my dad did on a regular basis as a type 2 diabetic who was on insulin? And he would take his insulin shots, and then he would take all of his meds, and his sugars would go, whoa, whoa. And when he went on the downside, what do you think he did? He had juice in the fridge. Take a shot of juice, bam, up his sugars would go, and he'd feel normal again. This is a really bad piece of advice. I'm just telling you, that wasn't wisdom, but I know that's what he was taught. Okay. And I am not a doctor. So if your doctor told you to do that, you do what your doctor tells you to do. Do not listen to me. I am not your counsel then. Okay. For real. But instead, what if we just reverse engineer it and we start eating so that we're never spiking and then crashing so low? What if we stop this so that we never have this? That is what I want to talk about today. And that's why you're hungry, because your body needs fast energy, and your cell said, door is closed. We are stuffed over here with insulin and we are done. And then your insulin goes, or I should say your pancreas says, I tried to shuttle glucose into that cell and it wouldn't take. I must not have made enough insulin. I'm going to go make more insulin. Make more insulin, try it again. Oh, it didn't work. Well, I am a fat storing hormone. So let's get busy. We're going to store fat. Let's do that. And that's literally how this works. And now all of a sudden you have fat showing up in places you are not excited about. This was the beginning of me changing out my ingredients because it was the fat. We don't want to lose weight. We want to lose fat. Differentiate between the two. Weight can mean water, muscle. It can mean impacted waist. Woohoo, I lost 5 pounds. Now I'm like so excited. What I don't know is that it was just impacted waist. Well, that is good. However, did you really want to lose the weight, or were you hoping you were going to lose maybe fat, like back fat? Maybe you were hoping you were going to lose some belly fat, or like on the inside of your knees. Okay, so let's stop spiking the sugars. And if we can get our sugars and our insulin to come down, then we can finally lose weight. So let's talk about food and why we do what we do, because I feel like this is the biggest way that they have the marketers, the food companies, they have infiltrated the conversation and they have marketed to us really, really, really bad information. So I know that Maria Emmerich, she takes on this battle all the time because people are eating dirty keto, whatever's being, balloons, whatever's being marketed to us, and confetti. Instagram is a party, you guys. I'm just telling you, it's one big party. And they have told us that things are smart because they just say keto, but they're not at all. So a really good example that I like to use is Aldi's bread. Aldi's keto bread. That's not keto. That's a joke. You're still eating grain. No, let's not do that. Okay? Because then if you keep on raising your sugars and calling on insulin, you are still on the hamster wheel of not losing any weight. Without enough insulin, your body can't use the glucose for energy, so you're hungry. Yes. Yeah, but when your cell is closed, yes, movie mama, yes. And then when your cell is closed, you're just a mess. You're a mess. It's no fun. Thanks for joining in, though. You're so fun. I appreciate you more than you know. All right, so let's get at it. So one of the biggest mistakes that I think people are making is that at first, maybe you're thinking that being gluten-free is good enough. Yeah, see, she's asking a good question, Florida. You're asking a very good question. She or he, I apologize, because it does say Florida boy. So dude, guy. So that's a really good question. And he's asking about Ezekiel bread. So my mother ate Ezekiel bread all the time. She had it in her freezer like nobody's business. And it's still grain. And I know that it's sprouted grain and I get it. But if everybody had a glucose meter, you would see that it's still spiking your sugars. Is it potentially better for your gut? Is it potentially better for your digestion? Is it potentially better for, I don't know, nutrition? Okay. The conversation is not any of that. The conversation is, how does it spike your sugars? Every single thing that goes in your mouth, how does it spike your sugar? So no Ezekiel bread. In my opinion, this is how I'll tell you my world, and you can decide whether or not you like my world or that you understand what I'm saying. Okay. So here we go. We're going to talk about the fact that even when you are gluten-free, that's not the same. Okay. So gluten-free is not the goal. Grain-free is the goal, in my opinion. Hi, Carrie. Oh, good to see you. Very, very good. Okay. So grains and gluten are related, but distinct concepts in the context of nutrition and diet. Here's an explanation of each of the differences. Okay. So grains, of course, you guys, they're the seeds, right? All the crops. And the food pyramid was made not by medical professionals. It was made by the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA. Okay. So it's made by people who are making the food. And that is just inherently, in my opinion, a problem. So you're always talking about wheat, barley, rye, oats, brown rice, quinoa, millet, and corn. Those are your grains, basically. And then if they refine them, they turn them into like white rice or, because they take off the whatever, and then white flour, cornmeal, things like that are more refined. But it's still all grain. And if you have a glucose meter, you'd be able to see when you eat something over the next 2 hours, how high does it raise your sugar? Now, I understand. I know, Sherry. I know. Ezekiel bread. That's why I'm actually doing this today, because I feel like there are tweaks that people could be making that they didn't know about. And I'll tell you, you guys, once you get on the other side of trading out your ingredients, there's so much freedom. We think it's restriction. It's actual total freedom. That's why in the challenge, every month in the Facebook group is Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We do a 5-day challenge. We're doing our 15th one starting August 12th. I take you into my pantry and I take you into my fridge because I want you to get a visual of what it looks like to be on the other side. And I actually love the food that I eat. I thought I had to not be a foodie anymore. And I bring that up because we have all of these emotional connections to food. And so we're really always trying to just find the edge. We're trying to find the edge. Tracy, thank you for the follow. We're trying to find the edge of the envelope that we're pushing. We're always trying to find where's that gray area that I can live in so that I can still be whatever, emotionally attached to something, still be a foodie, still be whatever it is, right? So I get this. Like, I know all of this. I could probably write the book because I understand this up here. Okay. That's literally the reason why I did this first. And now that's what I teach. Start with the trio. Start with the targeted supplements. There's just 3 of them. Start with those. Let's get your sugars to come down. Let's get your insulin to come down. Let's do that. Let's help your sugar cravings like simmer down. Sit down and shut up, appetite. Let's do that and get your internal engine moving. And then let's talk about the food here. Okay, so I'm actually on step 2 today. This is step 1. And you can always reach out to me and ask me about the trio or put it in the comments on Facebook. From Ireland, hi, Anne. Nice to meet you. My middle name is spelled the exact same way. Very nice to meet you. Yes, Sherry, you can have cheese. Now, that's all dependent upon the person too, right? Actually, too much dairy can stall somebody's weight loss. In theory, yes, cheese is fine. Real cheese, not like plastic cheese. But anyway, so what happens then is if you are constantly eating like Ezekiel bread or the Aldi's keto or whatever, you're still spiking your sugars. And when somebody they test their blood, I used to test my blood on my fingers when I was pregnant with gestational diabetes. Movie Mama, you're so making my day. Thank you so much for all of your on TikTok. When I would do that, you're supposed to eat and then you wait for a certain period of time so you can test your blood, right? So in about 2 hours is actually the question. If you eat a bowl of pasta, it's not about how do you feel in 15 minutes. I mean, you'll probably feel like crap and take a nap. That's not the point. It's how do you feel after 2 hours? No, it's not how do you feel. It's how did your sugars respond 2 hours after you ate? This is a reason why they say don't eat late at night, especially carbs, because then you go to sleep and your insulin and your sugars are rising. And this is what causes sleep issues. That's another conversation. So you eat and 2 hours later, it'll tell you how fast or how high it spiked your sugars. The glycemic index, in my opinion, and this is me being a total lay person and not a nutritionist, I don't like the glycemic index. I hate it actually, because I feel like it gives us false information. It's giving us true information, but it's giving us a wrong judge of information. The glycemic index only tells you how fast or how slow your sugar rises. Is that a benefit? Sure. But what if it's still rising to the same point? So what if it's up here, it's rising up to here, whether or not it goes fast or slow, I understand I get the concept. Like it's maybe more manageable inside of our body for the insulin to try to get it into the cell, but the cell is closed and it's still going to go high. So the glycemic index is in my opinion, and maybe I'll study something and I'll learn something from Dr. Ken Berry or Maria Emmerich or Dr. Eric Berg, and I'll understand it better. And then I'll have a different perspective. And I'm so open to all of that because I'm just learning just like you guys are, right? But in my opinion, if we gauge everything off of that, we're going to think we can have all sorts of foods that's just keeping us in a rut. We're so dang frustrated. And as women, we don't even have to talk about all the, you like eating grilled cheese. I understand the conversation, but that's why I make the egg white bread, Sherry, because you can make that plain and you can use that for grilled cheese. In fact, maybe I'll do that today. That's a really good idea. That's very yummy. But then we're always eating these foods and we don't, okay. Yes, I'm going to talk about the health benefits. Of course I am. Almost every single day I get on here and I talk about how it's devastating to your body. It's not okay that it doesn't come into check, that we're told to just take another script or add another dose. I mean, you end up dead like my dad at 63 with a very poor functioning life. Like he was living a life of exhaustion and throwing up from dialysis. That was no way to live. And that's what he said. And then he died. That's what happens, right? However, what if you don't have to live that way, but also let's just talk girl talk about weight. if we just have the weight conversation, everybody joins around the campfire. So let's all come on, let's join around the campfire and let's talk about losing fat off of our bodies, because we actually do want to have that conversation. And then by default, guess what? You're going to make your body function better and you're not going to have all of the detrimental effects. Okay. So 101, if your insulin or your sugars are high, you cannot lose weight and you're stuck like this. If your liver is toxic, if it's tired, if it's sluggish, you can't metabolize fat. This is why everything else used to not work for you. Okay. Now you can be insulin high for many, many, many years. I was insulin high, did not know it for probably 20 years before I did anything about it. I had no idea insulin was a hormone. I wasn't testing my fasting insulin, like blah, blah, blah. What are you even talking about? I didn't know any of this. But in the meantime, what's happening is it's high because it's trying to shuttle glucose into your cell and it can't do it. So it keeps on making more. After a while, this begins to not only rise. Sherry, there's a, go to my site, kirstenliebelt.com, and it's just one page. Scroll down, there's a video, a tutorial of making the egg white bread. So go to my site, kirstenliebelt.com, and you'll find it just, I think it's 8 minutes, and I'm teaching how to make that. So your insulin is high because it's been trying to make more. And after a while, it is not able to take care of that sugar anymore. So the sugar stays high. It doesn't just go high and come down. It goes high and it stays high. That's when they go, oh, I'm so sorry, you're pre-type 2. Okay, that's what happens. But in the meantime, you're not losing weight. Like, man, I used to be able to count points. I used to live in a calorie deficit. I used to go to the gym and work my behind off. I used to run, and it would just melt off my body. And now, because of high insulin, hormone, messing with all of your other hormones, cortisol, estrogen, everything. It's messing with all your other hormones. Now you go work at the gym, potentially, maybe you have higher cortisol. Maybe it's making it higher. You've got more belly fat. You've got all this going on. You're like, what's going on? So let's change the lens as to how we're viewing this for our fat loss. And then what I know is that secretly, if I help you lose fat by eating a certain way and by getting your engine to function a certain way, I also know that your liver is going to go like this. Your hormones are going to go, thank you. We can work on the trio actually helps with the visceral belly fat around your organs. These are all things that we don't want. We used to not have fatty liver like we do now. So I'm just telling you. So let's talk about losing fat. So if you're like this and you're high insulin, sugar, and you can't lose weight, we have to bring them down. Testimonies on the trio are at the top of the Instagram page in a pink highlight bubble, or they are in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, number 4. They're just 3 simple supplements. This is where I started. Then I did food. All right, going to the food. Good morning, Anna. Thank you, Anna. I know I should get this in different colors too, but I don't know that I could find it in different colors, but I do like it a lot. So these are the things that I think are hitching people the most. Number 1, thinking that gluten-free is good enough. It's not. It's because gluten just has to do with an insensitivity of your body responding to gluten. Like my husband, he can't do gluten because he actually reacts, like his skin reacts. And so he doesn't do gluten. Okay. Or I shouldn't say that. He's just built up this sensitivity over time. That's not the same as me choosing completely grain free so that I can stop spiking my sugars, because I'm going to fix what got me into the pickle to begin with, so that my body, if I'm spiking my sugars, my insulin is going to say, ooh, gobble, 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 gobble. My first choice of fuel for your body is sugar. Yay, sugar. And it's not going to ever get to the fat. It's never going to get to the fat to burn the fat. Someday, when I get to where I want to be in certain ways, I will dig out pictures that I took that are very vulnerable, because I wanted to see if my body's going to start burning fat for fuel. I want to see the difference on the inside of my knees. I want to see the difference on my arms. I want to see the difference on my belly. I want to see the difference on my back fat. I want to see the difference. There's a difference between losing weight and losing fat. So you have to stop spiking your sugars in order to get your body to choose the fat for the fuel. Okay? So now everything that I eat, easy. Not easy in the beginning, hard, emotional connections, but now easy. Because everything, I get hearts on Instagram. Because now this is a habit. These are my habits, right? My pantry is traded out. My fridge is traded out. I love the foods that I eat. Okay. So now when I eat something, when somebody presents something to me, let's say that's not something I normally eat, all I have to think about is the fact that, well, I'm not interested in losing my fat loss journey right now. Like I'm going in a good direction. So it overrides. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's just talk about some of the foods that I eat, etc. So this is why I'm being grain free is like, I'm telling you, it's probably one of the biggest, most beneficial keys of your journey that you could possibly take if you are insulin resistant. Being grain free is, I want to use the word magical, but because I think the reason why I'm not going to use that word because that doesn't really describe it. It has the highest benefit. And the reason why is because when you're insulin resistant and you have to stop that sugar spiking, it's so broad. It touches everything we eat. So I know that you guys go, oh, but that means everything I eat practically is not going to work. Oh I just glitched on Facebook. Sorry. You think, oh my gosh, that's everything that I eat. But yet on the other side of that, guess what? When you switch that out, it's like, oh, wow, I switched out a huge boulder. Nice. Now the other decisions aren't so many because grain was the biggest boulder. Thank you. I needed this pep talk after being with grandchildren on vacation. Oh, I'm so glad. And slipping up. I'm back on track. Thank you, Kirsten. You're welcome, Wendy. Good to see you. I know. What about zero carb flour tortillas? Nope. Nope. That's the same thing. Anything with grain. I don't care what the marketing is. Do you understand them saying zero carb flour tortilla? They caught you at zero carb. They hooked you at zero carb and they lost me at flour. Zero carb. It's still grain tortilla. Keto, hook, Aldi's bread. No. They're trying to make you think that that's going to help you. But when you are insulin resistant and you're trying to stop spiking your sugars, for all of those reasons over here that are health reasons, all the ones that I'm not going to talk about today, that you really actually do want. But let's just only talk about losing fat. Okay? Because that's actually what in our hearts, we connect with the most. I'm just telling you, that's what because we want to lose the weight. You know? And men and women too. Porridge. What's in your porridge, Anne? Tell me if it's made out of grain, then no. You're welcome, Kenna. You are welcome. Okay, so let's talk about food then. Let's get into this because I want to give you hope. I don't hate my life. I love the way that I eat now because I understand that when I put it in my mouth, it's not going to spike my sugars and my body's actually going to burn fat. Bring it on. Okay. So Anne, you can just tell me what's in your porridge. Okay. So on any given day, because a lot of people are like, well, then what do you eat? What do you eat? Well, I talk a lot about how when you have a pantry full of one set of ingredients and a pantry full of another set of ingredients, you're just trading out the ingredients. You're still making the same food that you always made. You're just doing it differently. And you do have to have a little bit of an open mind, right? Because like when Maria Emmerich makes all of these wonderful, amazing, genius recommendations of trading out ingredients, you have to trust the process just a little bit. One of the best examples that I have, oatmeal. Yeah, no, it's a grain, and sorry. Oatmeal is actually really, really really spiking. You just loaded up on buying those zero carb flour. I know. And they're just, instead of a zero carb flour tortilla, go and try to find like the Egg Life wraps. And I know they're not going to taste like a flour tortilla. I get it, but they can serve the same purpose. Or deconstruct what it is you're trying to make. Just like you would go to Subway and you would choose the Italian, whatever it is. And instead of having it on bread, they offer you to make it in a bowl. Live your life that way with everything that you eat. Just deconstruct it without the wrap, without the flour wrap, without the, and turn it into a salad or turn it into whatever. Still eat because you want the flavors. So the best example is if you're in my group, thank you, Anne. You're so sweet. I will answer that in just a second. In the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We're doing our 15th challenge starting August 12th. It's free, 5-day challenge. I do them every month. The track that I put people on to run, okay, is the opposite of what the Matrix is having you do. The Matrix is giving you really bad advice about how to eat. And then they are giving you, they're telling you that you're pre-type 2, and then they're giving you scripts. That's their track. You can decide for yourself. Thank you so much for following Noodle Queen. You can decide for yourself whether or not that is intentional or not. Okay. We can always have those conversations too. Those are fun. But my track is completely different. My track is this. Here, I'm going to show you. Let me show you if I can. Oh man, I might not have everything I need in here. Let's see what I've got. My track is basically saying that there's one in here that I need. Start with targeted supplementation. This is just my story, right? So you start with targeted supplementation. I need to have a third one here. I might have to go get it. I need a third one. So there's three. There's 3 supplements. And what you can do is bring down your insulin, bring down your sugars, and get your engine, like you're lifting the hood of your car and you're getting your engine to working again. If your liver's not working, one of them is for your liver. If you're, if you are deficient in certain like minerals and you've got certain nutritional deficiencies, your body's not working. What if there was simplicity in this process? And they're just not telling us about the simplicity of the process. So my track is, let's start with targeted supplementation. Let me teach you food ingredient trade outs. And then we're going to do a challenge every single month. And then when that month is done and you feel like maybe you did good or you didn't do good, or maybe you did better this month than last month, but it's still not where you want it to be, we'll do another challenge. Okay. So this is my track. All right. In the group, search keto lasagna. Maria Emmerich teaches, during the challenge, we do a recipe every time. During the challenge, I do a recipe, and Maria Emmerich teaches how to make a keto lasagna made with sliced deli chicken breast. Although I've heard about a listeria outbreak with deli meat right now, so I don't know what that's all about. So maybe you do this after the outbreak is done and they got their crap together about it. I don't know where that came from. I don't know anything about it. I just saw a headline. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really like serious. But anyway, sliced deli chicken breast. I'll go to the deli and I'll say, will you slice that chicken like on a number 2? And then you layer your lasagna just like you normally would. You guys, you have no idea. And every single person who tries it says, I cannot believe that actually worked. Because you are not eating the lasagna to taste the noodle. Not one of you is looking to taste the noodle in a lasagna. You want the mozzarella cheese, you want the ricotta, you want, let's say you're putting Italian sausage in yours or whatever. Make sure you grab a sauce that doesn't have sugar in it, like a Raos, R-A-O-S. Side note, but deconstruct your food and then just try something like that and go, oh my gosh. So if I'm going to eat Italian, maybe I'm not trying to trade out fettuccine because maybe I don't care enough about fettuccine, but I want the Italian flavor. I'm Italian. So like, I know my stuff, right? My noodles and what I want. So I'm going to maybe then have a pan of lasagna in my fridge, instead of focusing on the fact that, well, I haven't been able to figure out how to trade out a fettuccine noodle. And you can use the Egg Life wraps and you can use a pizza cutter and make those egg noodles. You can do all sorts of things. people try a lot of different things to trade out noodles. But, oh, see you later, Magda. You have a really blessed day, okay? Have a really, really good day. Good to see you. So that's the deconstructing of food. Okay. And I can see Greek yogurts. Yes. So if I was to talk to you about some of the foods that I eat, I do not go crazy on dairy because dairy will stall my weight loss. However, I am not dairy free. If you have a lot of inflammation in your body and you need to get that inflammation down, you might need to back off on dairy. That's my that's my disclaimer. Having said that, Greek yogurt, what I do is I buy it plain and then I sweeten it myself with like a sugar-free. I'm gonna go get these for you. I have like, have you guys used like the liquid stevias, the squirting liquid stevias? People go to Italy and lose weight. I know all the food is the pasta or our pasta. Yeah, I think there's a really strong conversation inside of that. Almond flour is fine. Good morning, Matt. Hold on, I'm going to grab my liquid stevia so I can show you what I do with my Greek yogurt. Hold on, let me grab it. Let's see here. I'm coming. I have to gather them from all over my kitchen here. Okay. Okay, here we go. So liquid stevia. So I'll buy these off of like Amazon or whatever, and I'll take full fat Greek yogurt and I'll sweeten it with like you can do plain. They have a vanilla. I'm out of the vanilla. I usually run out of that whatever. It's one of the first ones that I run out of. Caramel. These are called Sweet Leaf. That's the brand, Sweet Leaf. Okay. Plain, caramel, chocolate. I'll take and I will sweeten my own full fat Greek yogurt. I'm buffering again on Facebook. Full fat Greek yogurt. Don't do the fat free. That was another marketing ploy for us. Don't do that. If you look on the back label of yogurts that are fat free versus full fat, you're going to see that fat free has higher carbs and higher sugar. Don't take the fat out. The fat is what is helping you. Okay. So that's what I do for that. That's my best recommendation. So Greek yogurt, high protein, keep your tummy full, make you feel good, right? Definitely. Our nutrients have been depleted. Europe has more nutrient dense foods. I think that's probably for sure true. And I also think that we mess with our wheat supply. I don't really understand. I know that was it Barbara O'Neill, where she's talked about how in the 1950s, we did a hybridization of our wheat crops so that they could grow. They kept changing, making them a hybrid. Like, so my mom used to work for the Landscape Arboretum, which is the horticulture division of the University of Minnesota. And so that's where they hybrid the apples. They hybrid, and I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's okay. Everybody knows what I mean. They keep like mixing the seeds of something in order to create a certain kind of a flower or a certain kind of an apple or whatever. And it takes it was really fascinating because I grew up knowing some of this stuff. Like, it takes 20 years to get an apple to market because they keep on doing the hybrid process to get it to be like, that Honeycrisp that came out of the U of M, the Jazz apple, the First Kiss. Like, they came up with these. They work on them for years and years, decades, to get them to be the sweet, the tart, the crispy, the crunchy, the perfection, whatever. So this is what we do to our food supply. I'm not saying it's all bad, but I'm saying that the hybridization of our wheat seriously messed us up that long ago. And then they handed us a food pyramid where they said, 9 to 11 servings of grain a day. You just go for it. You eat all the bagels and the pasta. Like, these are whole grains. These are super important. You should be eating all of this stuff all day long. You should be getting up in the morning and eating oatmeal and all of these things. And we just kind of like took it seriously. But now here we are. I mean, doesn't anybody else think to themselves like me? Aren't you like me? And you go, I'm in the 21st century and I don't even understand, like, why are we fatter than we've ever been, more obese? We're sicker than we've ever been. We're more medicated than we've ever been. Doesn't anybody else secretly in your brain wonder why? If we're progressing forward, it's not just because we sit at computers. That's not the only conversation, because you can be a runner and all of a sudden you've got issues with your weight in your 40s because of your insulin. Thank you for following, Tam. I sure appreciate it. Hybridize. Yes, thank you. Thank you for helping me. And so I have this very strong memory. In 1996, when my grandma died, my mom's mom, 97 years old, memory intact, playing Scrabble. Skinny as a rail. Has anybody seen the pictures of the 1970s beaches? Maybe that's your homework for today. Go and Google image 1970s beach. What happened? Were they just starving themselves? Were they just never eating? That must be what it is. They were just never eating. That's BS. I know. Big PHAR is in control of our health. Sugar is the enemy, and more acres are dedicated to sugar beets, sugar cane, and corn for corn syrup. Corn syrup is a huge piece of the puzzle. Because did you know that your body, your liver has to be the one to has to be the organ that metabolizes corn syrup, as opposed to regular sugar can actually be metabolized a different way. But all of the high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup that's in literally freaking everything we eat has to go through your liver. Thus, in the trio of supplements, liver. Oh, love your liver. Because when you get your liver running, that's why the testimonies, you guys, it's a piece of the puzzle. I know it's not food anymore. Scientists say we have lost up to 70 to 80% nutrients in our food. It's such a conversation. It's such an important conversation. If we just pause for a half a minute, it's not hard to understand. We eat everything out of season. We've depleted our soil. Even back in biblical days, they would rest the fields every 7 years because they had to regain the nutrients of a field. That's not what happened when we hit the Industrial Revolution. It was, how fast can we go? How high can that wheat be? When we just kind of kept messing with the seed until it was resistant to bugs or drought or whatever it is. So that it was stronger and it was, had its armor on it, basically, so that we don't lose any crops and so that they can grow higher, but that seed can't actually reproduce. That's how much we've messed with our seed. So it's, and then by the time you get anything in the store, I'm in Minnesota. There's not 1 ounce, in my opinion, I'm sure it's not scientifically true, so I'll just be dramatic. There is not 1 ounce of nutrition in a raspberry on a shelf in Minnesota in January. Come on. How far did it have to come to get to my grocery store for me to eat that stinking raspberry? And then if it's not organic, now I'm just doubling down on my issues. Now it's been sprayed with glyphosate. So now there's not even any nutrients. Now I've got chemicals that my liver has to take care of. So I'm just telling you, when I tell you to take 5 minutes of your day and don't self-sabotage and go to my Instagram and look at the highlight bubble and look through the testimonies, it's about these 3 supplements right here. Just look through them for yourself. Do not listen to me. I'm not my best testimony. I'm the first testimony for myself, but I'm not my best one. You guys gave me the best testimonies. And if you're already in the group, go to Guide 4, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. People were healthy in the 1970s. They were more active and eat less processed foods. That is correct. You're glad to find someone who also deconstructs food like you do. Yay! Oh, Matt, thank you. I am so, so happy to hear you say that. That is great. Yep, you have to deconstruct food because you're looking for the flavors, you guys. Ask yourself the simple questions. What are you actually craving when you think you want lasagna? Actually craving when you want something sweet? I can go to my fridge. In fact, maybe I'll do it right now. I'll go get something for you. Hold on. I want to make sure, even if you say you only eat in season, big business climate controls it for months. Yes. Such a good point. So what I've been doing, the raspberry in the winter is better than Mountain Dew and coffee creamer. Crystal, okay, fine. I will give you that. You are right. Mountain Dew is actually really, 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 really bad for you. It's really bad. The sugar in the tomato sauce. Yeah, don't do sugar in the tomato sauce. Do buy Rouse, or if you're making homemade spaghetti sauce, because I'm Italian, and you do feel like you need to cut the acidity, maybe cook a carrot inside of it to offset that. But yeah, you don't want sugar in your spaghetti sauce. Oops. Minerals do not disappear just like that. Oh, interesting. Please don't. Please don't bless our farmers. Blame the fumigation of grains in the cereal mills. Good point. Soil is not depleted. Apples grow on the same soil for years. Olive trees too. I still think there's a principle. You're 70 and graduated in 72 and never heard the word diet. I know, right? Good point. No pop in the 70s and yeah, corn syrup. Yep. I'm serious. Like my dad, I was raised on Tab. I was raised on diet soda because that was the answer, right? That was the fix for my dad's diabetes. Just drink Tab, you know? But now we do. If we can change the way that we view what we're putting into our mouths, I'm telling you, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna show you one more thing because I feel like this would be helpful for somebody. Let's see. Hold on. Oh. All right. I don't have the chocolate that I like. Okay. So sorry, Instagram, there was a phone call coming in. Okay. I don't have the chocolate that I like. I'm going to give you a tip here. Everybody, this is a look into my world of interestingness. So I'm a sweet tooth person, right? And, you know, like somebody was asking about almond flour. Almond flour is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with almond flour. However, I'm going to give a disclaimer. If you are trying to, if you're doing keto or whatever, and you're trying to lose weight and you're eating still way too many nuts, meaning nuts and or almond flour, both the same, but you know what I mean? Like for me, if I get on a train of eating too many nuts and nut flours, it stalls my weight loss. There was a poor connection on Instagram. What is going on with Wi-Fi today, people? Hello. So Tab was the nectar of choice in the 70s. It was. Yep. You make your own soda. I would love that, Matt. I would love that recipe. Thank you for telling me that. You grew up on meat and potatoes and veggie dessert was only on Sunday after a meal. That's a really good point. Tallow. Yeah, we did not have dessert every time. Tallow, butter, and lard, not Crisco, and canola or soy oil. Soy oil. 100%. 100%. So I am always on the search for things that, like during Christmas, I'll do almond flour and I'll make like, you know, whatever, keto desserts so that I can bring them to people's places or when I have company over. But during the rest of the year, when I'm still wanting to like, you know, lose more fat, etc. Like I've gone from a 2X down to a large in my 50s, and I'm going a direction that I'm really appreciating, but I still got goals just like everybody else does, right? And so basically, this is what I'll do. I'll take real whipping cream and whip it up. This is not like some big secret or something, But I do like to use a lot of extracts because extracts can fill in for me the flavors that I'm looking for. So this is just real whipping cream. But what I did was I used like a powdered Lakanto. And then I used in this one, I was really wanting a raspberry flavor. So I used a raspberry extract. But then what I do is I go to the store and I buy not unsweetened chocolate in the baking aisle. Now, this is not my favorite brand. It doesn't matter. You're not going to know the difference. I wish I had the package to show you the one that I do like. But this is unsweetened chocolate. And when you shave it, oops, hold on. I got to do something on TikTok. When you shave it onto whipping cream, like if you take out a little serving out of here, you shave unsweetened chocolate on it, you'd be shocked because the sweetness just overtakes the unsweetened. It's almost like having like a dark chocolate in there. And you've done no damage to any sugar spiking because you're basically, this is like very little anything to spike your sugar. Now, this brand is Baker's. Actually, not even close to being as good as, here's a good tip for you. Go to Walmart, buy the Great Value brand of unsweetened chocolate. And it actually, when you turn it over, it says chocolate liqueur. It's a really good chocolate, you guys. So I don't know where they're getting that chocolate or what brand name they're slapping the generic brand on, you know, the name. Send that to my house, Linda says. Everybody can make their own whipping cream. But this is, to me, this is a really good, I'll also take the egg white bread, you guys, and make it sweet so that I can have something sweet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you can deconstruct, you can recreate the flavors that you're looking for and stop spiking your sugars. Almond flour, almond milk, almond butter, peanut butter, and all nuts are very dangerous if you suffer from kidney stones. Good to know, Liz. Good to know. You love this. You're a chocolate monster. I know. And it doesn't mean you have to give up everything. I feel like I want people to know, does it work with coconut cream if dairy free? Julie, I would totally try that. I have not tried to whip coconut cream, but I bet it would. And I do, this is probably the most dairy that I do, like right here. If I have this, like I just made this last night because I was having a craving. But it's not all the time, right? But whatever. Or I'll put a little cream in my coffee. Okay. But then maybe I'll choose to not binge on, if anybody's keto and you know these terminologies, like, you know how you make cheese chaffles, maybe I just am not making those, or maybe I'm not adding cheese to everything that I'm eating, or I'm offsetting as much as I kind of can, just because I know for me, backing off on dairy is helpful. So I like using coconut milk in a can when I'm making, there's a chocolate pudding also. So on my site, which is one page, it's just one page. It's my first and last name, KirstenLiebelt.com. I wish I had, okay. So like my device, I broke my device. You see this? I broke my device. So normally I'd be able to pull this up and show you, but now I can't. So I would show you my website, but I can't. So KirstenLiebelt.com, KirstenLie, like I telling a lie, and then belt, like a belt around your waist, .com. At the very top, the first thing you're going to see is you're going to see a phone digits. You can text me. And you can say, hey, I was on your live and you were talking about the trio. Will you send me a cart with the trio in it? Or on any other given day, we're talking about ashwagandha, turmeric. We're talking about all sorts of things to help with different things, probiotics, etc. Hey, I was on your live. Will you send me a cart with the trio and the ashwagandha, or the trio and I need the turmeric and I want to look at the probiotic. It's just so that you can look at it all in one place and make it easy for you. So that's what you'll see. Then if you scroll down, you'll see the trio right there on the second button. Scroll down further, you're going to see a Facebook blue button so that you can get into the Facebook group. But when you go down, you're going to see two videos. I only have two videos on there right now. One is a video tutorial of me making the the egg white bread, and one is the sugar-free chocolate pudding. And when I make the sugar-free chocolate pudding, I'm using a can of coconut milk. And both of those recipes originate from Maria Emmerich, and I've just tweaked them for myself. Okay. One is an 8-minute video to make the bread. One is, I think, a 2-minute reel on the chocolate pudding. Oh my gosh, you guys, make the chocolate pudding and then take a picture and send it to me and show me that I love it when you guys send me pictures of your food, and then put a little bit of raspberry whipping cream right on top. You'll be so happy. This is easier than you think it is. I'm telling you, easier. 8 cups of water. Oh, he's telling me 8 cups of water in a medium pot with a cup of stevia, orange extract, teaspoon of lime. Oh, this is so interesting. Matt, that is so good. Carla, you're here. Hello to all. She loves coconut cream. So basically, Matt is giving a recipe. I'll just read it off if anybody wants to know. 8 cups of water in a medium pot, 1 cup of stevia, 1 teaspoon of orange extract, 1 teaspoon of lime extract, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, 2 or 3 cinnamon sticks, depending on how much you like cinnamon. He's making like his own drink. That is so cool. A half a teaspoon of cardamom. I love cardamom. Anise extract, browning sauce, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. That is fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody? Now, I don't know if you're on my Kirsten Liebelt Facebook or if you're on my Kirsten Fergali Liebelt, but either one, people could go and screenshot that. What did I miss? I'm missing stuff. I can't tell. I glitch on Instagram. I'm glitching. That's okay. Okay, so that is just a conversation of taking something sweet, deconstructing what I want in that moment. Okay. Another thing that I would do for something sweet is you can go on Maria Emmerich's website, and she has look up custard, and she'll teach you how to make a custard with egg yolks and put it in the no. Go to her website and in creme brulee, and then do it without the sugar and the torch on top. Because who cares, right? Like maybe you want to, but for the most part, we just want normal. Like we're not going to pull out a torch every day. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I'm just saying. But if you just make the creme brulee base out of egg yolks, etc., and you've got them in ramekins in the oven, you guys, you're freaking eating custard. You're eating egg yolks that are so good for you, filled with choline and all sorts of good things, stabilizing your blood sugar. So what do I eat for the day? Well, today I haven't eaten yet because I woke up and I wasn't hungry. If I wake up and I'm hungry, I eat right away. But I'm going to eat at least 30 grams of protein for breakfast. I'm going to probably have 3 eggs and maybe a chicken sausage. That is 14 grams of protein, and then 32 grams of protein. And my blood sugars are going to hum. They're just going to go, and I'm not going to need to call on hardly any insulin. It will be some always when you eat, no matter what, but it will be very little because there's hardly any glucose being produced to get into my cell. Okay. And then that's going to satiate me for hours. And I understand. Well, we don't eat because we're hungry. We eat because we're bored. We eat because we're happy. We eat because we're sad. We eat because we are fill in the blank. I'm with you. I get it 100%. It's why I lived with carb blockers in my pockets for years. So that's another one you could ask me about. Send me a cart with like the trio and the carb blocker. You can do that one too. Because I needed to walk my own journey about food. And I had to do it without shame because there's a lot of messaging from my childhood. Maybe you have some too from yours. Maybe you do and maybe you don't. But I think that the hardest thing to overcome is our mental condition about, for me, what it is to have, what is attached to being overweight, the the look or the connection to one thing is good and one thing is bad. And, but yet being in a culture of food where you're told to eat because you're Italian. And so getting rid of those things. So I get it. However, at some point, I promise you, as you begin to work on a little bit of your mindset, I'm going to actually do a series in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I'm going on a leadership. I'm flying out tomorrow and I'll be gone for a week. But when I get back, I'm going to start a series in the group on self-sabotage. And there's literally a book called Self-Sabotage No More. So if you want to grab the book, because I'm going to be going through that in the group, do it. Just grab it on Instagram. The author's name is Jenny Potter. Jenny Potter. And I'm going to go through that because I know that this is a thing. However, having said that, if you can work on your cravings and your appetite, come on, that's why people are getting injections. Okay, just think about this for a second. If you can, and a lot of people, oops, my ring is in the way. A lot of people want a more natural understanding. If you can naturally calm some of that food noise, how much easier is it potentially, right, to have brain space, to think about trading out an ingredient, to think about making a recipe that's different, to stop feeling so overwhelmed. That's why I start where I start with everybody. Start with the targeted supplementation. Let me teach you ingredient trade outs. Let me show you how to maybe you're weird. Maybe everybody in your family is going to think you're weird. Who cares? Do you want to know what my next purchase is? No, this is not weird. I'm going to buy a Ninja Creamy, you guys. I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy a Ninja Creamy and I want the deluxe. I want the biggest one that they have because of course I have family, right? I want to be able to serve it when my family comes over, my grandsons. But I'm going to take that chocolate pudding. Remember, I was telling you that reel is on my website, kirstenliebelt.com. I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it in the Ninja Creamy because that is high protein because it's made out of egg whites and coconut milk out of a can and like real cocoa. Like it makes the most amazing pudding ever. Go and look at that one page, kirstenliebelt.com. Scroll down to the bottom and you'll see that it's like 2 minutes showing you how to make that. It's a Maria Emmerich recipe and I've just kind of tweaked it a little bit for myself. I use, I'll use these to boost the sweetness. I'll use some of these sometimes. So let's say I made it chocolate and I wanted to boost the sweetness with coconut stevia. Nice little shot of that. Change the flavor. How about caramel? And you can get these off of Amazon. I'm just saying, you guys, whipped cream is dreamy. It is dreamy, Carla. And you know what? This is a lot, right? So you don't eat this much in one sitting. You're not going to overeat like that. You're just not going to. I know you want one too. I can't wait, you guys. And then I'm going to show that in the group for sure, because we all want the things that I grew up on, you guys. I wish I could show you the picture, but I can't. So in the group, when I do the challenge every month, I show a picture of me when I'm about 8.5 years old. I don't think I have that actual. Sometimes that's floating around. I don't think I have that one floating around. And I'm standing at the kitchen counter in the Rambler that I grew up in. My mom moved out of this Rambler after 50 years, about 7 years ago. Okay. And she had dementia and we took care of her for 5 years and then she passed. Okay. Which is insulin resistance of the brain. Okay. But I'm standing at that counter and we used to buy those big, huge things of ice cream. Anybody else? I mean, those big ones, it was probably had to have been 2 gallons, right? The plastic Kemps. I don't know if you all have Kemps where you live. And I'm scooping up ice cream. And as an adult now, I look back on that and I go, why did my parent take a picture of me scooping ice cream? Isn't that bizarre? But that's how ingrained it was in my world. So whatever it is for you, and it might not be ice cream, you might care 2 hoots about ice cream. But whatever it is for you, Find the trade out. Deconstruct what it is that you love about it. And you can trade out your pantry, and I'll teach you that in the group. The bucket, the big freaking bucket. It was huge. Tubs. It was so huge. So crazy. Like, and we definitely went through one of those a week. Absolutely. We went through one of those a week because my mother believed that ice cream, somewhere this came into her world. Now, she was a home ec teacher. Maybe they taught that to her. Neapolitan. Oh, yeah. Neapolitan. But somewhere she was taught, whether it was while she was getting her home ec degree, because she was she did that later in life, and then she did some substitute teaching. Whether it was through there, where they're giving you the really bad, lame food pyramid, or whether it was through marketing at the time. Maybe I need to do a deep dive into ice cream commercials of the 70s, but she was taught that ice cream was a very, very good source of calcium, and you should be teaching it to you should be feeding it to your kids. So we had ice cream in our freezer as though it was the like benefit of the day for us as children to get our calcium. Like, get your dose of calcium. I'm not even kidding you, you guys. Maybe you guys didn't have that. Could you freeze your whipped cream to make your own ice cream? Sure. And that's actually a part of the whole process. So, okay, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to put this away because it's starting to get melty. So hold on. But I'm going to do a couple of things. And one of them is I'm going to use the sugar-free chocolate pudding. I'm going to do that because it's actually dairy-free. And I like that. And instead of eating dairy all the time, I'm still going to eat dairy, but I like having that as an option. So I'm going to do the chocolate pudding, and I'm going to put that in my creamy. And then the other one is, it is dairy, but I'll tell you kind of what I was like reading up on. Hold on just a second. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. Love my whipped cream. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. So there's a carnivore ice cream that somebody had posted, and it's like you're taking brown butter, and then do you guys know how to brown butter? I haven't done it for a while, but you basically take a stick of butter or whatever, and you're simmering it until it starts to get brown bits in it, but not burning. And it gives it this caramely taste. And then they are adding whipping cream to it. And I forget what else is in there. I'm sure there's some sweetener in there and maybe vanilla. I don't know. That's the one that I want to try to make. Oh my gosh. Doesn't that sound amazing? Doesn't that sound good? You haven't found a substitute for chips yet. Oh my goodness. Switching out for chocolate pudding, 2 different worlds. And grandma always served us Neapolitan when we visited. Yep. Oh God, you guys, it's one ingredient at a time. It's one recipe at a time. I promise you, keep going. Don't sabotage yourself again. Don't think that this is an overnight fix. Don't do that, because then you're just going to tell yourself negative things like, you see, I knew you wouldn't do it. You've never done it before, honey. You're not going to do it now. What's wrong with you thinking you could actually figure this out? Don't do that. And as far as chips go, okay, I'm going to grab you one more thing. Hold on just a second. Okay. I have my little tote here that I'm getting ready for my trip, because I'm going to fly out tomorrow. I'm in Minnesota, and I'm going to fly out, and I'm going to go to Dallas. And for leadership, etc. So this is what I'm bringing. Now, chips are not my thing. Like, which is hilarious, because in my 40s, when I started trading this all out, I was major league addicted to, and I mean, I loved Trader Joe's kettle chips, salt and pepper kettle chips that were, I think they have like a garlic powder on them and all sorts of good stuff. And they're ridged and they're crispy and crunchy and amazing. I ate those constantly. And it was salt, sugar, salt, sugar, salt, sugar. So it's really kind of weird that now that's not my jam. Like, I don't care. Like somebody says fries for her. Yeah. I don't know why. It doesn't matter. I don't have to try to figure it out, I suppose. You're also trading out your stinking thinking. Yay, Carla. That's a really good one. You got to change the way you're talking to yourself. Have to. But for my trip, I'm taking these with me, and I found these. Okay. This is a little bit of an alert. This does not have perfect ingredients. Okay. And I'm going to show you why. And then I'm going to tell you like why I'm still going to go with it for me right now. This is not like Maria Emmerich would not approve of this. All right. But I found these at Costco. These are pepperoni pizza crisps, and they're made out of cheese, and they taste like pepperoni pizza. Okay. Now, the only thing is that when you're looking at the ingredients, like it's mozzarella, and then of course, uncured pepperoni, but in that pepperoni, there's a little bit of sugar in there. Okay. It's not high on the list or anything like that, but it's still in there. So for anybody who's really paying attention, I'm not trying to throw you off track. Okay. Because some people, we don't want to have like all of this, whatever. People have to be able to navigate their own world. And I get that. But for the most part, let's pretend that wasn't there. Not so bad of ingredients, right? That's really the only thing in there. But these I will take with me, and I will have these just available in my luggage. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend, let's see, the first day we're at, we just have too much fun as a team. So we have baseball games the first day, Thursday, tomorrow. We'll have these baseball games that we're going to be at. So I'm going to be at a ballpark in Frisco, Texas, where they're going to serve all food that I'm not going to care about. So I'm going to have my own tote bag with all of my stuff in it, whatever, and I'll have like crisps or whatever. The sweet side of having something on me will probably be Lily's, Lilys. You can go to Walmart and you can buy Lily's chocolate chips or a Lily's, bar. And if I just have a little bit of a Lily's bar every now and then, I'm fine. Okay. That's good enough for me. But that's really how I've done chips. I know some people do, I wasn't successful. You can make an egg white. Some people will take like a muffin tin, like maybe a silicone one, muffin tins, mini muffin tins. And you're just pouring egg whites into muffin tins. Just thin, little bit, like a teaspoon. And then you're putting seasoning in there, and then you're baking them. And you have little egg white crisps. Some people like that. Sure, you can bring it in. You're by Frisco. Julie, you're by Frisco. Yeah, we were there last year, and most stadiums don't allow outside food. You are correct. This is, however, a private event. So the guy who it was his dream to be a professional baseball player, and he sustained an injury. This is a few years ago now. And so now what he does is he takes the leaders of his business team, and they do these baseball games. He rents out the stadium, and we've done it all over the United States. And then he plays baseball. Literally, they suit up. It's so much fun, but you are right. But this will be okay on that. But you're right. That's a good statement. They'll have a lot of food that I don't care about. Love it. I just be like, and at worst case scenario, you know what? You buy a hot dog and you just don't eat the bun. Like, you just make it up as you go. Like, I don't care. I don't care about that one meal that's kind of lame, because the next meal I'm probably going to have something good anyway. So who cares? What about Quest chips? I would have to look at the ingredients. I just think, I think they're fine. I think that they are. Would those be like almond flour? And if so, I'm not against that, but I would personally rather do cheese than almond flour. That's me. Because my daughter asked me the same question when we bought these. She said, well, Mom, why not have nuts on you? And I said, listen, if I buy keto granola, which is very good, or I make it myself, that's also in the group. Ditch insulin resistance for women. Search it, keto granola. We made that in June for the challenge. So good. And I took it on a business trip in June. So good. Love it. pumpkin seeds. I probably had sliced almonds in there, all sorts of goodness, made like a brown sugar swerve, caramely sauce or whatever, and poured it over and baked it. Great. But if I eat like that, like a lot of nuts over the weekend, I'm just going to be, it's going to totally stall out my weight loss. This is just what I know about me. This is how we have to assess ourselves. It's going to stall me out, and I'm going to be more bloated. That's just me. So yeah, I think that was the question on that. So that's just what I know. But I promise you, there is a trade out for every single thing that you're looking for. You just haven't found it yet. You just haven't found it yet, but it exists. There's nothing that we can't trade out now in 2024 where we have access to everything, even if it is like even at Walmart. If not Walmart, it's on Amazon. Like, it is everywhere. Somebody said to me, Julie oftentimes jumps on, and she said there's a liquid stevia now that you can buy at Aldi's. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked at the ingredients. I don't know, but there's just something for everybody everywhere. You just have to believe that that's true. And then give yourself enough time to try something. And if you focus on protein all day long, protein, 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 you're going to get so much further in this journey. Get rid of the grain, get rid of the sugar, stop living on the edges of your envelope that you're pushing. Stop doing that. It's a self-sabotaging thought process that keeps you from moving forward. And listen, everybody else around you might not be insulin resistant, and they might be giving you a hard time and telling you, you know, it's just all about balance, and this is too restrictive, and what are you doing, and blah, blah, blah. Just in your head, don't say it out loud because you got to be nice to people. But in your head, just go, shut up. I'm on my own journey. I'm going to take back my own body. I'm going to feel amazing. And I'm going to be able to then have a life where I function at a higher level so that I can create more memories. We used to take business trips, and we'd get on a bus, and I'd bring all the wrong food, the Trader Joe kettle chips and the sugar and the what. By the time I got somewhere, my ankles were so swollen and I felt like crap. I felt horrible. My brain fog out of control. I'm exhausted. My ankles are swollen like, cantaloupes. And I'd get into the hotel. I'd lay on the bed and I'd put my feet up on the wall to try to at least get some of that swelling to go down. And then we'd go into a conference for the weekend. And I'd be like, oh. And at some point I said, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm going to fix these pieces. And I think probably I fixed it during those weekends first because I was tired of that feeling. And then I fixed it more at home. And pretty soon it was both and. So that's just how that goes. Thank you, Linda. I'm so excited. You have no idea. We've been working on a goal for a long time as a team, as a business team, and we're hitting our goal today, actually. And so there's a leadership that's involved in it. And it's been so fun. It's so fun to work with other women to not just hit our own financial goals, but to hit team goals and to have that camaraderie. It's just really fun. So thank you. It's going to be amazing. You found cinnamon egg life wraps? Yes. Those are really, really good. And just think about that now. You could take and you could Anna, thank you for liking. You can take those with a pizza cutter and even make chips or whatever and put those in an air fryer. Put a little bit of butter on them, put them in the air fryer, and you could have cinnamon chips. You can do that with the regular egg life wraps too. A recipe for the whipped cream. I don't use a recipe. I'm going to guess what I do. A pint of heavy whipping cream, a 1/4 cup of powdered sweetener, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and then a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon, depending upon how strong you want, of any extract flavor you like. I chose raspberry. You could do orange, you could do anything. You could do cake batter. If you're like a really sweet person and you want that cake batter, you make your lasagna rolls with Egg Life wraps. That is a great idea. That's a great idea. Yep. There are so many good trade-outs. So many good trade-outs. Oh, I have to fly, you guys. Somebody messaged me and I've got a meeting. I didn't realize what time it was. If you need anything, please reach out to me. Don't self-sabotage. If you're wanting to start the trio so that you can start bringing down your sugar and your insulin and deal with your cravings and your appetite and all of those things, look at the testimonies, the pink highlight bubble at the top of the Instagram page, guide number 4 in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Get your hopes up. But if you grab the trio, then on August the 12th, we'll start our challenge. And when we do, you'll be ready to go. So I can't wait to see you there. Have a blessed day, Anna. My contact information is freaking everywhere so that you can contact me for a reason, okay? All right. Have a good day, you guys. I'm going to go and jump in my meeting.